Mighty Mike Heating and Cooling is affordable, professional, and there when you need us 24/7. Stay warm this winter by calling your hometown hero today. Mighty Mike Heating and Cooling, 330-207-7070. This program proudly supported and brought to you by Eric Cromer, Cross Country Mortgage, a wiser way to mortgage. This program proudly supported and brought to you by the Youngstown Drip IV Bar, helping the Mahoning Valley reach its wellness goal. This program proudly supported and brought to you by Youngstown Computer, the Valley's IT company.
Anyways, we'll go over some wow numbers here. So 59-1. The Browns were when taking on the AFC North when trailing by 14 or more points until Sunday's game. Pretty impressive. 59 minutes and 20 seconds was the time Baltimore led in that game. The Browns did not lead until that field goal went through the uprights with no time left on the clock. -4, though. Here's a bad stat. -4, which is tied for 24th in the league. The Browns' turnover differential, they have 15 takeaways, which is pretty good, 11th. They have 9 interceptions, 6 fumble recoveries. However, they've given it away 19 times, which is worst in the league. 12 interceptions, 7 fumbles. Not going to get it done. So that is a look at that's a look at some wow stats there. But you take a look at the rest of the schedule, Joe, and here's what we were talking about. Browns are 6-3, 9 games. They're averaging about 24 points a game. They're giving up about 19 points a game. But the rest of the schedule, you have the Steelers. That's a home game. Then you go for 2 on the road. You go to Denver. And I guess what I heard is the Browns are actually staying in LA for a whole week. So they're after they play Denver, they're not going to come back. What's that?
John
yeah,
Elway.
F John Elway. after they play the Broncos, they're actually going to stay in LA for that whole week before coming home and taking on the Jaguars. But you look at that schedule, Steelers is a winnable game. By no means is that an easy task. And by the way, this line opened up at 3.5, jumped up to 4. Then the Watson news came out. I think the Browns are still a 1-point favorite, but that's where it stands now. You got the Broncos, who suddenly look like an okay team. You got the Rams, and the Jaguars are a pretty solid team. But you got the Bears on there that they look like to be playing for the worst record in the league. You have the Texans. CJ Stroud's playing out of his mind. The Jets, kind of a really good defense, not a good offense. And then you got the Bengals, which we'll see what it is there.
Well, pick your 4 teams that you're locking.
Locking for wins?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to say Steelers, Broncos, Bears, Rams, Jets. I'm going to say 5.
Wow.
I'm going to say 5. I think the Texans game is going to be tough. That's Christmas Eve. We'll see about the Bengals game, although we do play them very, very well. We'll see about the Rams game too. I think that could be tricky, but we'll see. What are your 4?
Yeah, and I'm saying I'm with you. I'm thinking that we're gonna hit the Steelers because of just the emotion behind it. Broncos because FLA. The Rams are going to be rough. Chicago's going to be rough. I think with Jets are going to be easy. So I'm going.
You think Chicago's going to be a rough game for the Browns?
It's going to be rough.
You think so?
I do.
Interesting. Bears are bad. Just saying.
We'll see.
Okay. All right. And the Jets, who knows? Aaron Rodgers says every week he's coming back.
No way.
There's
he's on
no
an
way.
ayahuasca trip.
Yeah, exactly. I do want to give credit to that guy, Kevin Stefanski.
Yeah.
People are on his ass all the time, and that's the life of a head coach in the NFL. However, he is 32-26 overall, 1-1 in the postseason. People will say, "Oh, that one win doesn't count because he was in his basement." Okay, yeah, he prepped the whole week, made the game plan, put all the people in place to succeed. He didn't snap the ball over Roethlisberger's head in that game, but he did. He put everybody in a place to succeed. So 32-26. You look at the coach's record before him, 94, 208-1. That's about as bad as it gets. So Stefanski, give him credit because he has managed 3 quarterbacks this year. He has managed a running game without Nick Chubb, without his starting right tackle, with guys in and out of the lineup, and he's doing a great job. I think Kevin Stefanski should actually get a contract extension. I think he is a great coach. Has he made some mistakes? Of course. Every coach does it. Some game management stuff especially. But I think overall he has done a pretty solid job. What say you?
I agree with you. Should get a contract extension. What I hate about Stefanski is every press conference is an exact duplicate of the previous press conference.
Yeah.
If I took one, I could copy paste it on every other one.
That's
and
very
say,
true.
Tell me who we're talking about here, which game, and it's exactly the same. Here, let me give you a summary. Ready?
Mhm.
A lot of it's on me. I'm the coach, and
Yep.
our special teams has to get better, and our defense has to get better. We're going to learn from this one. We're going to watch the tape, and we're going to check the MRIs.
Watch the
Boom.
tape. Yep. Got to watch the tape. Yep. There's a lot of that. There's a lot of watching tape. There is zero doubt about that. So yeah, no, but I think that's kind of good because he doesn't get too high, doesn't get too low. One thing I loved that I saw out of him was some emotion on the sideline, though. He was pissed at one of the refs for, I think the play clock didn't get reset or something like that. And he was pissed. And I love to see that because it's like when a guy that's like pretty even keel gets fired up like that, I think that's pretty awesome. So love to see it. All right, Joe.
Yes.
We talked about the Browns. We're going to talk a little bit more about them, but we got to get to know, unfortunately, the Pittsburgh Steelers. So they are also 6-3. Mike Tomlin, 169, 96-2. Never has had a losing record in 17 seasons. That is, to me, unbelievable. The Steelers lead the all-time series, 81-62-1. The Steelers have been outgained in all 9 games this season. That is crazy. Pittsburgh has trailed in the fourth quarter in all but last week's game. And last week's game, they were up 20-19 going into the fourth quarter. They won the last 2 games with interceptions in the end zone on the final play against Will Levis of Tennessee, not a very good team, and Jordan Love of Green Bay, not a very good team. But they have the number 1 turnover differential in the NFL. That is where they have made their mark. But you look at their schedule, took the bad loss to San Francisco at the beginning of the year. They beat us on the Browns played awful that game. And obviously Nick Chubb, the heart and soul of the Browns, gets knocked out for the season in that game. Beat the Raiders, not a good team at all. They got destroyed by CJ Stroud and the Texans. They beat Baltimore, though. I have no idea how they beat Baltimore, but they beat them. Beat the Rams, lost pretty bad to Jacksonville, beat the Titans and Packers in back-to-back weeks. So they are 6-3. What are your thoughts on the Steelers?
See, I talked to Steelers fans, and they're not at all happy with their coach. Like, really, they want him gone and whatever. And I think from the outsiders, Browns fans and everybody else, like, they don't realize what they really have in that guy. So it's weird how the local team hates the coach and everybody else thinks that he's way better than the fans do.
Yeah. Mike Tomlin, for any Steeler fan that bags on Mike Tomlin, I'd say, show me who you want better. He is a top, I put him in top 4 coach in the NFL. Andy Reid, you can, John Harbaugh,
No,
you might say John, not
that.
Jim, John.
Oh, okay.
But and fans in Baltimore aren't happy with him. They've given up a bunch of leads, but and you can throw in a couple other guys there, but he's good. Where I think they don't appreciate Mike Tomlin is what he has done for so long, and their offense isn't very good. Their defense is pretty solid, but I think the one coach they want fired is that Matt Canada, the offensive coordinator.
Yes.
They are not too happy with him, but
we know that feeling.
Yeah, we do. But again, where the Steelers make their money, plus 10 turnover differential, that is tied with the Cincinnati Bengals of all teams for best in the NFL.
So if they did a football IQ test on every head coach of every team, who do you think the genius would be? The number 1 biggest genius of all coaches?
Oh, wow.
Not based on record or whatever.
Current head coaches in the NFL right now? Oh, man, because that's a tough question because some of their acumen is like offensive based, some is defensive based, some are just CEOs kind of and run. Like, I think Mike Tomlin he's a defensive coach, but like more of a CEO now, like a leader of men. Kevin Stefanski is the play caller and coach for the Browns. But overall, I mean, 5 years ago, I would have said Bill Belichick. Right. I might say Andy Reid. He's also
Well,
probably
give me your top 5 and we'll pick from them. So you got
okay.
Andy Reid, you got
Harbaugh.
Bill Belichick, Harbaugh, Stefanski.
I'm taking Bill Belichick off that
Okay,
list now.
got it.
Stefanski doesn't make top 5.
Okay.
He's got to prove it a little bit more.
Pete Carroll?
So, nope, not
Pete
currently. I love his leadership style, but no. I'm gonna say, you said 5. I'm gonna say Tomlin in no particular order. Tomlin, Reid, Harbaugh.
That my soul.
Yeah, I'm gonna say, oh man, this is tough. I'm gonna say Mike McDaniel of the Dolphins. I like him, and I think he's he's like a nerdy guy, but he's real smart. And man, this is really tough. I'm gonna go from a pure football mentality. He's definitely not IQ the smartest, but football IQ might be up there. The Detroit head coach, and his name's escaping me right now, but I'm putting him up there.
Now, out of those only top 5,
Yeah,
pick the one out of those 5 that you think is the smartest, biggest football IQ.
Andy Reid.
Andy Reid it is.
Okay, so yeah, I guess
easy.
easy enough. And I think a lot. Sean McVay, you'd probably put in there as one of the smartest guys too. He's younger. He's very like offensive minded. I might put him in the top 5 too. But I don't think he would be that number 1 overall guy. So that's a good question. I'd like to revisit that. I almost have to like see the list in front of me and then like pick out the guys. But I think 4 of those 5 I would definitely pick.
So why did Belichick's stock value go down for you?
Well, I just think I think if we're talking all time, he's in that top 5. But I think currently, as it stands, he's getting a little bit older. His team's not as great. So I just don't think he's in that top 5 anymore. For his entire career, he might be like, he's probably top 3, of all time. Don Shula, you can go through the list of all the guys, but yeah, he's no doubt up there. But right now, I don't think so. I think maybe it's just the game has changed. Tom Brady's not there, which might affect how you coach.
Tom
how
made
you
him
play.
look good at times.
I think Tom has won the battle of who's more important, the player. You know how they say the Jimmies and Joes more than the X's and O's? It's kind of like, okay, Tom Brady has proven that he's more important than Bill Belichick. So,
and one test that probably is skewed to the results here is that Andy Reid travels teams, and you watch those teams come to life when he's there.
Yeah, yeah, and he probably also orders the most food out of any coach too. I will say this though, Andy Reid, I've never seen him down there, but I go down to Sarasota, Florida a lot, and he has a second home down there. And I've always wanted to like run into him down there because he's like a very likable, cool guy, I think, but he also looks like a manatee a little bit. So maybe if you see him out in the water,
now he will not meet with you. You ruined it.
No doubt.
But he's done a bunch of food commercials, right?
I've seen him on, I don't know about that. I've seen him on like the State Farm commercials with Patrick Mahomes.
He was eating something though. I mean,
no doubt he's eating something. Yeah. His plate will not be empty in the buffet line. Let's just put it like that. So, but maybe he needs all that food to keep his brain going because he's so smart. So,
see what
I did? Now I turned it back around. Yep. Backhanded compliments coming out here left and right. So, all right, let's talk real quick. Browns defense versus Steelers offense. So the Browns' strength is the Steelers' weakness. So the Browns, number 6 in scoring, number 1 in yards allowed, number 1 in passing yards allowed, number 7 against the rush. Their leading tackler right now, Grant Delpit. Myles Garrett leading right up there in the league lead with 11 sacks. Martin Emerson and Denzel Ward each have 2 interceptions for the Browns. Steelers offense only scoring 17 points a game, which is 26th best in the league. Look at all these numbers. Yards, 28th best, or we want to say, what would that be? 29, 30, 31. So like 5th worst in the league, 283. a game. Passing, 29th in the league. Rushing, 20th in the league. So they're not lighting up the scoreboard by any means, but their defense is keeping them in the game. Like you mentioned, they're muddying up the waters. They're doing just enough to win. And then they have that one great drive in an important situation to put them over the top. Or in the game against us, they turned us over at 2 critical spots, got them 14 of their 26 points. So that's where we're at on that. But Kenny Pickett, 6 touchdowns, 4 interceptions this year. Not a great season, but again, just doing just enough to get it done. Najee Harris and Warren, both kind of, I think Warren is the better back than Harris. And then you got Pickens there, the wide receiver out of Georgia, having a really nice season for the Steelers. So that's kind of where we're at with the Browns defense and the Steelers offense. That should be advantage Browns 100%.
Yeah.
So
it reminds me of the water boy. Like, wasn't the premise of that
punt it. They were taking knees.
Yeah. First down, punt it, put it in the hands of the defense, and that's how they won the games, right?
Yeah. No, just take the knees, let the clock run, kick it. And yeah. Maybe like the water boy can't hurt us if we don't run an offensive play. So yeah, hey, maybe not the worst strategy. So maybe not. I've seen way dumber things. So all right, let's go now. Let's go the Browns offense versus the Steelers defense. The Steelers defense is not as great as you would think. Now, do they have some great players? Yes. Minkah Fitzpatrick on the back end, 37 tackles. TJ Watt, obviously, 10.5 sacks. They have some really good defensive linemen, but look at some of these numbers for the Steelers. So, okay, only giving up 20 points a game, that's 11th best, and that is the most important stat. But they're giving up nearly 380 yards a game, which is 28th in the league. They're giving up nearly 250 yards passing, 26th in the league, and they're giving up a lot of rushing yards, 131 in the league. So the Browns should be able to move the ball on these guys. Now, it's a question of once you get in the red zone, don't settle for 3, get the 7, and, and just do just enough to win. Don't limit their opportunities to turn us over and stuff like that. So that's kind of where I stand on that. So
how do you, on that last game, like one little remark on that. So how do you feel about the missed extra point to the game-winning field goal?
Did you hear Dustin Hopkins' comment on that?
No.
He said it's kind of like being an arsonist and then coming back and putting out your own fire and getting congratulated for it. I thought that was pretty awesome. So yeah, that was like one of those things. He's had such a great year.
Heck yeah.
And then the Browns finally that pick 6, it's like, oh, we're going to be tied. And then he missed it. It's 31-30. And it's like, oh shit, now we're going to lose by 1 point and, come all this way back. But, they led that comeback drive and he was able to redeem himself, which was awesome.
I just know there was one guy that was cheering on that miss. It was Cade York.
Oh. I wonder where Cade York is right now. He is not on the Tennessee practice squad anymore.
Really?
I'm not sure where he's at, but a team probably picked him up. I don't know. So let me ask you a question.
Sure.
There are 2 different players.
Okay.
They're similar, but very different. TJ Watt plays linebacker because the Steelers play that 3-4 style. Myles Garrett, obviously a defensive end. I think I know what you're going to pick, but if you had to pick either one, they both came out of the same draft class, 2017. Who would you pick?
Say who am I?
TJ Watt
and JJ
or TJ.
TJ Watt.
TJ.
Yeah.
Not JJ's out of the league now.
Okay. All right.
But obviously from a nice lineage there. TJ Watt or Myles Garrett.
Oh, Myles Garrett any day.
Now, a lot of Steeler fans and Browns fans argue about this because TJ Watt sometimes seems to put up the bigger numbers, but he also is standing up a lot. He's playing linebacker position a lot. He's not just a defensive end rushing the passer. He's dropping back in coverage. He gets a little bit more tackles. But I will say Myles Garrett overall as the game wrecker, give me him 100 out of 100 times. TJ Watt, what he does is he is very effective in the clutch situations. When you need that sack, when you need that turnover, he has been the guy, and these numbers kind of like bear it out. I mean, they're both about as good as it gets, and I think Myles Garrett, where he doesn't get enough credit, is he often gets chipped, double teamed, and just gets after it like a madman, where TJ Watt oftentimes might just go one-on-one. So this is going to be, we'll see if DeJuan Jones is back. I don't know his status for this Sunday's game, but that's going to be an important matchup for the Browns this weekend.
It just occurs to me that like your coordinator could keep Watt out of the game much easier than you can keep Myles Garrett out of the game.
Agreed. All right, Joe, last week you went 8-6. I went 10-4.
Woo!
So here's what we look like on the season. I'm 96-54. I've taken now a 4-game lead, Joe.
Wow.
You got to jump back into this, but we're both solid. You're at 61.3%. I'm at 64% on the season. This week, you gave me your picks before I came in here. Let me skip ahead to those right here. We only have 2 games that we differ on this week. We pick almost all the same games. Now, the only games we differ on is the Seattle Seahawks, which I took, and you took the LA Rams. And we have the Super Bowl matchup from last year. I'm taking the Philadelphia Eagles. You're taking the Kansas City Chiefs. So
not bad differentials.
No, but all the other 12 games.
Yeah,
we are exactly the same on. So
to my defense, now that you're leading me here, I did take the Arizona Cardinals,
yes,
and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers for only one reason:
Baker and Josh Dobbs.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah.
So give me those ones back, and we're about even.
Yeah, we are pretty much like almost. I mean, you go through 150 games or whatever, and we're only a couple of games apart. Not too shabby. So, we'll see how it plays out. But next year, I think when we do this, if a team is like more than a 7-point underdog, you're maybe going to get like a bonus point if you pick them or something like that. We'll figure it out where it works for next year. But
or if you take the favorite, you have to take a shot of Weller during the show for each favorite you take.
That sounds like a bonus, right? Sounds like a bonus. Weller, feel free to. Weller's a Buffalo Trace brand, so you want to sponsor the show? Youngstown Studio, bring it down.
Makes the shows interesting. I'll tell you that.
But I had the Baltimore Ravens last week. This is my number 1 team in the NFL. I dropped them to number 3 this week, but I'm putting that matchup, KC and Philadelphia 1-2 this weekend. Baltimore 3, Detroit 4, San Francisco 5. Bottom 5 teams. I had the Giants, the Cardinals, the Bears, the Patriots, and the Panthers. So
let me tell you, of those,
yeah,
I am most happy for the Detroit Lions for where they've come and where they are now, and the Patriots, how far they have fallen.
They really have. It's kind of fun to see the Patriots down that far because they were so good for so long. But I think Browns fans can sympathize with Detroit Lions fans because we've been in some ugly seasons for many, many years.
And we fired Bill Belichick. So
yeah, we actually did not. The Baltimore Ravens did.
Oh, that's true. I'm not part of that.
Ipso facto, whatever, So, all right, let's switch to a little college football here. We're going to go about 5 more minutes, but Jim Harbaugh, he put this quote out this past week and said, "It's got to be America's team," referring to the Michigan Wolverines. "America loves a team that beats the odds, beats the adversity, overcome what the naysayers and critics, the so-called expert think. That's my favorite kind of team." Well, that's your favorite kind of team, Jim. That is not America's team. I mean, the guy is just an absolute clown. He really is. I am hoping this injunction that Michigan is putting out there, that they drop that suspension from 3 games to 2, so he can coach in the Ohio State game, and we can get him on the field and the Buckeyes can beat them. Michigan has no excuses, and then he's got to go shake Ryan Day's hand after that game.
Oh, yeah.
I would love that so much. Michigan, as a Buckeye fan, you have to admit they have a great team.
Yeah.
They have a great, great team. Did they cheat over the last few years? It appears so. And people will say, well, why punish the players and this and that? It's like, I get that. But some of those players, let's use CJ Stroud, who's lighting it up in the NFL. Did Michigan maybe cheat him out of a Heisman Trophy? Maybe, maybe 2.
Yeah. How long has the cheating been going on, my friend?
Well, a lot of people say for 3 years, but some people say it goes back as far as 2019. I don't have all the information. I don't want to claim to be an expert. I've read some articles. I've listened to some people I trust. I've got as much knowledge on this as, the general fan out
there.
So
I got a question on this.
Yeah.
So this is the YSU game.
Yeah.
There were on the YSU sidelines, there were 3 guys that were calling in signals to the offense.
Yeah.
Different colored hats. Is this their way of saying only one of those matter?
So yes, exactly. So it's like you said with the indicator in baseball, it's like you give a bunch of dummy signals and stuff like this, whatever it might be. But until you get that indicator, then you don't know the signs live, whether you're bunting, whether you're stealing, whatever it might be. But those 3 guys, one of them might be live, and the other 2 are just there giving signals. So a team would have to, really focus on that. And a lot of times, if you watch a game on TV, you'll see the team's holding up like these big tarps now to prevent that from happening. Now, do I think that's a kind of a stupid rule? You can't advance scout someone. Yeah, I do. I really do. But I think that rule was put in place to, let's just say hypothetically an Ohio University or Akron University. They do not have nearly the budget that Michigan or Ohio State or the Florida Gators have. Based on travel to be able to send people to games to advance scout them.
Huge advantage.
So that's why these rules are in place. And do teams steal signals? Sure.
100%.
Sure. But where the nefarious stuff comes in is they're going to these games. He's on the freaking sidelines in another team's gear scouting Michigan State. He was buying tickets under his own name, under his own Venmo account, and sending it to, different people to go scout and record those live. I get it. It doesn't seem like a big deal, but I heard there's other implications that haven't come out yet, like possibly stealing computer drive information that was uploaded to their account so they could watch practice film on other teams. I've heard there's gambling implications, which would become an even bigger deal. So I don't want to say, oh, give them the death penalty, give them this, give them that. But
I didn't think that was an option.
I think not actually kill them, but I think they're going to be punished in the offseason more than just a slap on the wrist that this Harbaugh thing. I think either A, Harbaugh goes to the NFL, or B, coordinators are fired, or C, vacated wins and stuff like that. So I don't know what it might be.
You want him to coach during the Ohio State game. There's no freaking excuse.
I would actually really like that. Okay. Yeah. And I'm sure many Ohio State fans are with me on that. So again, people are going to look at me and be like, oh, you're an Ohio State grad. You're a Buckeye supporter. Yeah, that's true. But, I'm trying to look at this through not Buckeye color lenses and say, give them a fair punishment. So, but we'll see what happens. And I think it is like a lot of people have said, let's let the NCAA investigate it. It's going to take a little while, but let's see what happens, what comes out in the wash. And I think Michigan's kind of treating this like their last dance. Like, hey, we know we're going to get in trouble. We know the hammer's probably coming down, but we're going to go for it. In Ohio State, if they can, on November 25th. Oh, he accepted it? Oh, okay. So
done deal.
Okay. So Harbaugh will not be coaching in that game. So once again, like that's why BJ, Kellen behind the scenes, they do all this shit. No one ever sees. I love it.
Crack team.
So okay. But unfortunately, Harbaugh will not be on the sideline for that game. But let's just beat him anyway. Let's beat him anyway and send a middle finger to him. Ryan Day can do the, hey, I'd love to know where Jim Harbaugh is right now, like he did with Lou Holtz. But college football playoff rankings came out. Georgia 1, Ohio State 2, Michigan 3, Florida State 4, and then just on the outside looking in, Washington and Oregon. So that's a look at that right now. That's going to change every week, but it's one of those things. Just win and you're in, and we'll see. Easier said than done.
Man, I want to play Georgia so bad. They're so good looking, so dominant.
That sounded like you were talking about a girl back in high school. I want to just go hang out with her. She is so good looking. I will actually be in Columbus this weekend at the Horseshoe, 4:00 kick, Minnesota. I'm not going to spend much time on this because Ohio State's going to beat them up pretty good. I will post their numbers out on social media, but Ohio State 10-0, 7-0 in the Big Ten. And one more thing I want to point out for Ohio State, excuse me, Marvin Harrison should be the Heisman Trophy winner. He is the best player in all of college football, and his numbers might not say exactly that, but he is elite, and he should be probably no worse than the number 2 pick in the NFL draft upcoming. So it's going to be awesome if Ohio State, they're going to be 11-0. Both teams are going to be 11-0 going into that last week, November 25th, the weekend after Thanksgiving. And let's just see where the cards lie. So
see, the Browns got to do really well because we don't have like a pick until like 2037. So I can't even look forward to the draft.
It's coming
anymore.
soon, 2025. We get it back in 2025. So the first round comes back. One quick note on our YSU Penguins. Unfortunately, had a tough one against South Dakota State last week, but they have lost to the number 1 team in FCS this year. They have lost to the number 1 team in FBS this year. They have had 2 3-point losses on the road as well this year. So YSU sitting at 6-4, going against Murray State. They should take care of business in this game, get to 7-4, 5-3 in the conference, and hopefully we'll get one of those lower seeds and be able to make the playoffs. That is kind of the goal for Coach Phillips and crew this weekend. So
I heard a bunch of stuff had to happen in order for them to seed. Like, did those things happen, or are they upcoming?
Honestly, I think it's still got to play out this weekend. So we'll see. So Joe, I'm going to end the show with one of your favorite graphics.
Yes.
There's a lot. We are in the midst of the 50 days straight of football, but apple picking, corn maze, date night, yard work. I'm actually going to a game, but I also have one of my niece's plays this weekend. So I wasn't quite able to dodge that. So I'm going to be able to play during a little bit of the Browns Steelers game on Sunday.
There's some corn mazes going on. Is that a thing?
I don't know. I was able to skip out on that, but I'm sure we have some great corn mazes around here. But
you don't want to shit talk corn mazes.
No, I don't want to get.
You're such a switch.
They might adjust the maze once I go in, and I'll be lost in there forever. So all right. Well, that is our show for today. Everyone, enjoy your weekend. Go Browns. Sorry, Steeler fans, but hopefully the Browns can pull this off. Get to 7-3. Go Buckeyes. Go Penguins. Everybody, enjoy your weekend. For Joe, for BJ, for Kellen, everybody down here at Youngstown Studio, we appreciate you watching. Everybody have a great weekend. We will talk to you soon.
Thank you for listening to this show on Youngstown Studio. This is original Youngstown content. Feel free to share our videos and tell your friends about us.